I'm sorry. I just read a reply to your tweet where you post the Carlo quote about, Hazard being better on the inside. And the
Someone
reply,
replied to that
you asked,
already. I literally just pressed tweet on that.
you asked the question inside where that role doesn't exist, and the reply is inside McDonald's. I'm sorry. That got me. um, yeah, your question being about who, like, what Vasquez's role is. I mean, I kind of agree with Carlo, right? Like, unless you're playing him on the left, I don't really see him as a winger, because if we're gonna do the thing where he's stationed out on the right, what is he gonna do? You asked what's that inside role? It was what we were doing before with when Vinny and Hazard were playing. Was Hazard gets to float inside, be this kind of nebulous number 10 type figure, and then we needed like Fede Valverde to be someone who could straddle like two duties in midfield and out on the wing. And so I agree with Carl, especially in a game where defensively we wanted to replicate what we did last game, which was a line of four in midfield and then the one behind, the one being Casemiro. Like, Hazard just doesn't work for this strategy at all, because him recovering from the positions he'd be in into defensive shape would be in a two with Benzema. It's how we've defended when we played Hazard alongside Vinícius. Like, it just didn't make sense. And to me, my right wing starter is Rodrigo. But I guess, you want to rotate. Rodrigo doesn't necessarily need to play every game. It's not like he's set the world alight so far, even though he's done some really nice things. For this one, I think Lucas kind of makes sense. He adds defensive value from the wing position, given the way we want to defend Shakhtar. I think he'd do okay there. And then counter-attacking, he could provide with, put crosses into the box, give us what we need in this game. To me, it wasn't that controversial. I understand what Carlo is saying here. I personally would always put Rodrigo in when I can, but in a game like this, it's fine. Throw Lucas out there, see what he provided. I don't think he had a very good game, to be honest, but I don't think it was really the bigger issue at play here.
The thing with Vasquez is like, and again, all of this logic adds up. I just thought it was interesting the way Carlos said it, because if you want to play 4-3-3 and you want wingers and you want to be able to replicate what you did defensively against Shakhtar in the last game, Vasquez is your best choice. It's not because Asensio is not going to give you what Vasquez brings defensively. And Rodrigo was injured. So obviously Rodrigo would be number one option because he can also defend. And
right. I completely forgot Rodrigo was injured.
Yeah, he's injured. So Vasquez is a logical next man up type of deal for me, I guess. But
right.
The quote from Carlo after the game was, bring it up here for the sake of the listeners so they know what we're referring to. So he says, I have thought to put him, but my strategy at the end was that I have to put a winger, and Hazard is better on the inside. So I think that's a true statement, but I wonder, like, is he effectively saying Hazard's role doesn't exist here? Because this is kind of like the trap that Isco fell into. If you're not a winger, you're not necessarily a pure central midfielder. I mean, Isco can play the center midfielder better than Hazard, but like, it's kind of like a 10 we're talking about. The role with Belgium he has that Real Madrid doesn't have that option for him. And maybe Odegaard, for that reason, maybe that didn't work out for that reason as well. Do you think he's kind of falling into that category now where it's like you're not going to be taking players on the wing and you're not good enough defensively to put you on the inside, so therefore we don't know where we can play you right now?
I think he's falling into that category because Vinícius has emerged the way he has. I don't think Ancelotti has a problem putting him on the left and letting Hazard come inside, because we started the season that way. That was what Hazard was doing, coming in from the left. And if he's going to be able to play there, I think he has a clear space in the squad, right? Because Ancelotti often likes to deploy wide players and has historically wide players who come inside, receive between the lines, gets the full back going forward. I mean, I don't know exactly how that matches up with Mendy. I like Mendy. He's playing, a bit deeper, a little bit more inverted and stuff like that. But theoretically it's all there for Hazard if he can play on the left. The problem is it's like Vinícius just gives you so much more. It's not even a debate. I don't think there's a single person in the world who thinks Hazard should start over Vinícius at this point in time. And so once that's a fact and that's a reality that exists, yeah, then there's really no role for Hazard, right? Are you really going to take a central midfielder out and put him as a number 10 when our defense is already as shaky as it is? I don't think so. And then you put him on the right-hand side, like it's just that we've seen that experiment and what it looks like, and it's not superior to the other options. So in the Vinícius context, I think Hazard is in a place where his role doesn't exist anymore. And the pathway to him, I think, is when he gets minutes to show that when Vinícius falls out of form a little bit, maybe he can convince Carlo that, hey, I can come in and give really quality minutes out on the left, because I don't see what else is going to be other than, all right, we're rotating heavily against an opponent. A lot of other people are out there. Maybe it's like a Kamavinga Fede pivot or double pivot he decides to trial, and he can put Hazard as number 10 in a 4-2-3-1 or something. But yeah, I mean, Hazard's a bench player just in terms of what the reality is now. And that doesn't really surprise me given what we've seen from Vinícius.